Hello. So this task of keeping everyone awake, including me and my four fellow panelists, is a huge task. Am I right or wrong? In one voice. Okay. So for the next 2 hours or so, okay, we give discount, only 1 hour. Does it sound better? Okay, fine. Friends, we are great to be part of this panel, and with the theme on raw material sourcing is the cornerstone of sustainable packaging design. At the outset, we are all five of us are thankful to Packnest and the team for giving us this opportunity. And before we begin the session, let me take the pleasure of introducing all the panelists. To begin with, Mr. Vaibhav Kulkarni from Marico. He is an engineer by education, manager by profession, and leader at heart. He has completed his graduation in mechanical engineering from Government Engineering College, Aurangabad, then MBA from NITI, now IIM Mumbai. 20 years plus experience in L&T and Marico, with almost 90% of that time spent in Marico. In fact, I am great to know that because when we started in Reliance, one of the major developments we did was Marico, that small FFS pack with Mr. Paul and team. At Marico, he has worked in various domains such as procurement, manufacturing, QC. He is designated as head of quality. During his last stint in manufacturing, he has set up the best-in-class facility for Marico at Sanand. Apart from work, he is an avid reader and loves to explore his creative side through writing. His wife, Major Mohini, retired, and two lovely daughters, Reva and Radha. Welcome, Mr. Vaibhav. Thank you. Mr. Om Prakash Sadhwani, former Joint Commissioner and Drugs Controller, FDA Maharashtra. He was former member of Drug Technical Advisory Board, DTAB, expert in detection and investigation of cases, faculty on training in investigation skills, wide expertise in policy making, 30 years plus in enforcement of drug laws. He was awarded Gaurav Puraskar by Government of Maharashtra. Hearty congratulations, sir. Best Drug Control Officer of India by All India Drug Control Officers Confederation 2010. Now he is working at CO in Tiblo Consultancy, Mumbai, and he's also the Director, Explore Healthcare Solutions, Thane. Welcome to you, sir. Quickly to Mr. S. Satendra Kumar Garg, experienced in professional procurement, supply chain and project management, 30 plus years of expertise, including 7 years of international exposure, skilled in global sourcing, vendor management, contract negotiation, cost optimization. Proven track record in managing high-value projects like FMCG, etc., adept in ERP implementation, logistics, and others. Worked including imported goods, import and export of goods with more than 1,000 suppliers from overseas, different countries. Welcome to you, Mr. Garg. And he is also a good writer, I believe. Thank you. And last but not the least, Mr. Shri Krishnan J. He is the Senior Director, Head of one capability team, including quality, process excellence, L&D, packaging, operations, and design at Flipkart and Mantra. He is an experienced business leader with over 30 years of expertise in driving organizational excellence and business growth across different industries. He specializes in supply chain, lean manufacturing, Six Sigma, change management, business planning, and packaging. At Flipkart, he heads the key functions including quality, process excellence, L&D, and packaging operations and design. He successfully launched and executed numerous projects focused on customer satisfaction with emphasis on sustainability in packaging and reduction in carbon footprint year on year. Finally, known for his strategic mindset, he excels at designing and turning corporate visions into actionable plans, overcoming challenges and making impactful decisions. Welcome to you, Mr. Krishnan. With such an impactful team, we look forward to a very interesting session for the next 40 minutes or so. Before we start interacting with the panelists, we have a small, about 5-6 minutes presentation on what all we are going to cover, and then we quickly deep dive into the today's theme of raw material sourcing, cornerstone of sustainable packaging design. Yes, please. So we're going to talk about the team we have introduced, the different, just to give a touch and go, what are the different technologies we're going to speak, and what are the regulatory trends, challenges, and opportunities. And the silver lining is the brand owner's commitment to recycling and sustainability. So we have introduced the team. Mr. Kostab Kulkarni, the last serial number 5. He had some exigency at his home, so he's not able to join us. Now, if we look at, we are all aware of the different processes. We'll just take 5 minutes before we deep dive into panel discussions. We are all aware about the mechanical recycling, the process. Now, only thing is sometimes we don't get the quality product. We still have the issue of consistent quality and consistent quantity both. So that is where the chemical recycling steps in. It gives you a consistent product, including the enzymatic recycling. So, which works basically by means of enzymes on polyester materials. Primarily polyesters, but people are working on polyamides and polyolefins also. Just to give you the different technologies we are going to touch base. This, some of you might not be aware, presumably. So this is what you see as the catalyst, enzymes working as a catalyst on the bottle flakes or the textile waste, and they convert. There is a process, we won't go into detail because that is not in the scope of today's presentation. And finally, you get monomers from which PET is made, that is recycled PTA, purified terephthalic acid, and recycled MEG, monoethylene glycol. Why we are discussing this in today's is, did you see the last line? You are able to source a consistent material. The final PET which will be made out of it, you can go to any IV, you will have clarity and consistent properties, which is still a challenge as far as PET and polyolefins are concerned. Fine. We know for sure that from April 25, we are going to have standards as far as bottles are concerned, even the laminates and composites are imported materials. So these are the target, 30% from 2025 going up to 28, it becomes 60, and that it remains. To what extent it is going to be practical, we have to wait and watch. But government, with good intentions, they are definitely and sincerely committed to kickstart in 2025. I mean, if you ask me, presently the all capacity of B2B PET resins manufacturing today is not even 1 lakh KTA, 100 KTA, sorry. But 4 years from now, people are projecting it to 5 to 6 lakh tons. Let us wait and watch. That is almost like 25% of virgin PET resin. So that will kind of meet the target of 30% of what we are seeing here. We have different regulations, different manufacturers who are making it. We have effect of this is that people have started looking at it seriously. Earlier, the price was the only point. Nowadays, we are talking about brand owners' willingness to pay. To what extent premium? That is a chicken and egg story. But now rPET B2B grade resin is available, which can be used both for food as well as for non-food applications. If we look at use of recycled plastics India trends, I can tell you based on personal experience, people have started using up to 15% comfortably. Means after a long journey of 5 to 6 years in paint pails and other applications, PET of course is already being used 100% also for water as well as CSD. Then we have a lot of challenges. I mean, you can see the list, laundry list here, but the major challenge, if I see, is the availability of we all see, is the availability of consistent quality, and if you get quality, then whether it is consistent quantities available or not. That is a major challenge. And we have a lot of opportunities. Today, brand owners are willing to sit and straight and look at it. Okay, if this is the thing, we are willing to look at it, trials and other things. They are willing to pay for that additional. PET, as we are aware, it is already selling at premium recycled compared to virgin resin. This is the brand owner's commitment. What you see here, these are all abroad globally, 100% recycled PET. This, what you see is a collage of PET. Nothing against polyolefins, because of my experience in PET, we are seeing a collage of PET bottles, but equally well, you have a collage of polyolefin bottle also, but with a less percentage. This is the brand owner's commitment to recycling. This is not a recent slide, couple of months back. So Coca-Cola, what you are seeing 50% by 2030, there are slides up and down in their commitment, which we are seeing in last few weeks in WhatsApp University and otherwise. People are re-looking at both in terms of the quantities and in terms of the timelines. But definitely they are committed and it will happen. So closer home to India, what is the silver line? The brand owners have already started using 50 to 100% of rPET. Both, you can see some of these familiar faces from Alpla and others. We are using it in water, Coke, and we are also using it in carbonated soft drinks. That's from me, from all of us. And if you have any questions, we can take it up in the end. Can we begin? So, the first of all, as I said, the major challenge for all of us, the brand owners, the converters, and other stakeholders, is the availability of consistent quality material. Mr. S.K. Garg, we would like to start the ball rolling from you. What are the biggest challenges which you have faced in different companies? I know you have a two-page list of different companies where you have worked in sourcing the sustainable raw materials, and how can they be overcome?
Yeah, thank you, sir, for asking this question after the very wonderful lunch. So I know that. This is regarding actually sourcing is very important, and if it is in case of sustainability, actually my version may be different from all of others. I'm listening from morning to Dr. I think Vivek ji or first Mr. Saha, that I have listened some points, and my version is that actually I am not from the this sustainable packaging field. I am from the engineering field, civil engineer, and now looking this food procurement, sourcing, and supply chain management. So actually I found that sourcing is very important for any raw material, and for the sourcing, sustainability means we should know about the sustainability. Yes, we know, but it's only basics we know, which I understand in this industries, because I am here in this food industry from 4 years, and I check it, means everyone doesn't know about the sustainability. Yes, they know the basic, yeah, this must be eco-friendly, this must be good for the health, or this must be good for the environmental, like that. But this is not only the sustainability, which I understand. Sustainability is a very big, very deep. And other things which I found that we have, means every, I think, organization started to make it another department that we call sustainability department or packaging department or packaging designing. Yes, they know about the packaging, but how to source it, they don't know. And they are working on their way, and procurement sourcing is working on his way. So as per me, because you ask me challenges and come out for that. So as per me, both group, means sourcing and designing, means packaging, both must come together to solve the problem. Because if he knows about the sustainability material, which we can source it, then the expertise in the sourcing manager or procurement, they can do it better. Yes, we know in the sourcing for the sustainability material, it's very tough regarding the costing side, because it takes some extra efforts, and extra efforts always means extra money. And everyone, I think, aware about the certification from the government, certification from the many institutes or society, whatever. That is also very big challenge for the sustainability, for the sustainable. And I think certification, because we have to find out the option, we have to find out the solution for this. So as per me, if government gives some incentive, which we are discussing from morning about the incentive schemes, and some relaxations from the food, from other departments, and also I will add it, because I am looking the commercial part also, so I will add here GST also, taxation. If the government do it, some advantage for the tax side, means GST side. If normal plastic, if we are purchasing with the price of 18% GST, right, sir? Then government can say it, okay, for the sustainable packaging, it may be 5% or something. So we can come out from the costing side. I think third is the big challenge is the logistic or transportation and the supply chain management. Because supply chain, it doesn't know about the which material we have to place the order, which type, which quality, because in the sustainable material, there is not uniformity of the material, which you have discussed just now about the material qualities issue. So I think that is also very important to know about the uniformity of the material. And for that, I think this is my view. We have a many now softwares or solutions which can be helped to trace out, because traceability is the important for the quality. If we don't have the traceability, we can't say the material is okay or not okay. So I think this is the my version for the sourcing of the any packaging material.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Thanks, sir. Yeah.
Thoughts are really, including the incentivization. They are really important, and maybe Packners Forum can take it to the right quarters. Mr. Krishnan, how can this thing is to you? How can companies strike the right balance between performance, cost, and sustainability in raw material selection, that is the sourcing?
Thank you, Rakeshji. Good evening, all. It's a very tricky question, right? Hello? Hello? Yeah. So in 30 years, I couldn't realize what is the right balance means, because every time I reach a place, they say it's a starting point, now you have to go from there, right? It's more about, are we doing right for the day? Are we moving in the direction which can positively generate more revenue or a more bottom line, right? So especially when I come into the subject of packaging, right? So what I did, I can talk about what we did. We are the new format of retail, which is Flipkart and Myntra. Though we call ourselves a retail, is one step above retail because we add one more layer of packaging to it. So in one way, if you see that if any product which has been sold from the shelf, there is no additional packaging is required, right? So the minute I ship every product customized to a customer and it has to travel a journey, I have to protect it. So obviously there is a cost increase starts from a design stage itself. From the first step of the customer choose to buy a product through us, is going to add one more layer, right? How do we compensate? It's going to add cost. The first question is, how do we eliminate cost? The second comes in is sustainability, right? Sustainability from my perspective as on date today is like an automobile industry, right? If petrol is not sustainable, carbon fuel is not sustainable, is battery is a sustainability, or hydrogen fuel is a sustainability, or any other natural gas, nobody knows, right? Everybody is exploring. People are hesitant to buy a battery car today because it takes 4 hours to charge or 3 hours to charge. So even if an 8-hour journey, they have to stop at every 150 kilometers. So will it not get solved? Definitely will get solved. Out of all 4, 5 options which market is working, one will come out and then people will invest on it, right? The biggest problem right now is, even in packaging, it's the same. When we say sustainability, 4 years back, our thought of sustainability is moving away from plastics and moving into paper, right? Then we realized paper means cutting more trees, so it's more unsustainable, so let's do something. Then we said, okay, we'll come into circularity of products. Then we say we go into compostables. One funny thing is in compostable, many a times the consumer, the way they understand compostable is they don't understand the difference between recycle and compostable. Even today, if I move 100% to the compostable, it will take millions of money to brand it like what compostable means. We have to educate the market. So there is not an automatic pull which is coming out to be, right? When we transform from plastic, at Flipkart and Myntra, we don't use any plastic at all. Even if you come to our warehouses, there is zero plastic. Everything gets packed in a paper or no packaging kind of thing, right? So the first thing which hit us is how we are going to compensate the cost which is going to get increased. And I can say that not into the numbers, in the 2 years of journey, we were lesser than the way that we are operating along with plastic. Okay. Is it just because the paper cost has come down? The paper cost have not come down, right? Paper cost is still slightly higher. Last year it's been almost flat. We are still not into compostables today. We are just experimenting it, right? It's more about responsible packaging. When we say there is an additional layer of packaging that we are going to do, why the first fundamental question we started asking is, why do I need to pack? Do I have to pack everything in the same manner? Okay. Along with that, every pack carries air also. There is a primary pack which is going to carry some air. There is a secondary pack which is going to carry more air. More air means when I talk about sustainability, the loadability of the truck is going to come down. The field executive is going to carry it in the bag. He can carry less number of shipments, right? So we have to get into the finer aspects of how do we solve and how do we minimize the quantity of packaging that I use. We can say that we have reduced, what we started doing is we started understanding, because we sell, if I call it as SKUs, we still close to some 5 lakh plus SKUs. At any point of time, you go to Flipkart or Myntra sites, you see the SKUs and product variability, right? I can sell from a pen drive to a computer. So that's the volumetric difference the sizes have. I have only 30 seconds time to pack it. Okay, so how do we do that? So we have to reduce the cost. I'm just getting into the same line. How do we reduce, right? We have to marry technology to the decision makings. How technology will help you? Technology will understand the variations of the products, and we worked out some algorithms which identifies what type of packaging I need to use based on the current product mix which is lying in my warehouses. There's a very detailed study that we have done, and we won 2 awards from US, one IEEE and French Elder Milesman award that we won. Our packaging factor went down by 40%. Okay, so the point is, it is not always cost, we have to keep it aside. A cost is the outcome. For the outcome, we have to go objective based. What is the problem I'm trying to solve? How are we trying to solve? And every problem comes with a constraint. So switching over from one to other should not necessarily mean my cost will increase, because we have strong case studies and we presented in multiple scientific papers as well on that, right? This is what, so in our experience, so you don't have to worry about cost to start with, right? The market will follow you and then it becomes much more cheaper.
Thank you. Thank you so much. That were very valuable insights. I think many of us, including me, were probably getting sensitized to the kind of packaging requirements your kind of industry have. Mr. Weber, over to you. With so many years of experience in Marico and my own personal interactions with your packaging team for more than 2 decades, I know the development which you people do. Now, what are the most promising innovations in PCR, and allow me to say even bio-based materials if you started experimenting for the packaging, both in the rigid and flexibles?
Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you to the organizers for this wonderful opportunity. See, I'll tell you, FMCG is a funny business. Okay. We are in the business of plastic. We just put a product inside that plastic and sell it. So it's ultimately all about plastics. So I'll talk about some of the things that I have seen as a part of the plastic recycling and the PCR part of it. We are talking about recycled PET, recycled materials. Before that, the biggest challenge that comes out is the segregation. Yeah. The waste collection and segregation. Now, I have seen some of the business models where what people do is they'll give you a barcoded bag, waste collection bag, and they'll ask you to put all your plastic waste in it. Anything with respect to the plastic, you put it in it. Now, once the bag is full, you just have to go to their app, confirm to them that my bag is full. They'll come and collect it from you. They'll give you the new bag. And then you continue to fill it. They will collect all this waste from this locality. They will take it to a sorting center. They will sort. Now, this startup incidentally has data scientists who have done PhD in US who are working in this startup. Now, why would a recycler have data scientists? The recycler has data scientists because while they are segregating, they scan the barcodes. And they know in this locality of Andheri, these are the products which are being consumed at this frequency. They know to the granularity of your home also, but let's keep that aside. They know that it is there at this locality, this is the data. Now today the Nielsen data that they give is based on the retail outlet level of ticks. Now this is a consumption data. For a FMCG company, this data is gold mine which they are trying to sell us. And that's the business that they are into. While the waste is a byproduct for them, while they scan and then they recycle and all those things. So this is the kind of business models are now coming up. And these are the models which will now start feeding. Because if the raw material, which is the waste from that consumer, is directly processed without going to a waste collection unit and then getting mixed with all sorts of materials and then requiring a lot of cleaning, this is far cleaner way of managing things, will give us far cleaner output. But this today is hardly 0.1%, 0.2%. If this grows, it becomes a big model. My experience with biodegradables is not great. I mean, again, as I said, we are in business of plastic. So biodegradables is somewhere, the challenge is it is not to the, not to the scale at which we want it and not fitting into the cost. Because ultimately my consumer doesn't pay me more because I'm biodegradable. That's the reality of life today.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, biodegradable materials, based on my personal experience also, we did some injection molding trials for some paint company and all that. So even the molding of intricate parts is still a challenge. So a long way to go. Thank you for your insights. Finally, Mr. Om Prakash Sadhwani. What are the generic guidelines, because you're coming from that background, for sourcing the raw materials by the pharma majors? And we have a couple of them in the audience today, hopefully in this hall. And what are the different standards followed in this regard? Your insights.
Hello. Namaskar. See, we are, as soon as you talk about pharma, we are talking about health, we are talking about life. Right. Now, major challenges when we say that sourcing for raw materials for pharma, I said that even as something is packed in some drug is packed in a container, the drug has to maintain its quality till its expiry, so that it should give perfect effect, whatever is expected from it. Now, we are, just I would put a background to this, we are pharmacy of the world. We are exporting drugs to around 200 countries. 40% of generics in US are used, which are imported from India. 40% of generics used in Europe are supplied from India. A major challenge for my manufacturer of India is that he has to not only comply with Indian regulation, he has to comply with the regulation of the country where he is exporting. Now, when you are exporting to every country, then you have to comply with the regulation of that country. The regulations are by and large trying to get harmonized, but they are different for different economies, they are different for different environments, they are different for different storage conditions. Right. So, while developing a packaging, you will have to see that whatever first primary packaging material you are giving, that is not acting with that is not reacting with the drug which you have put in that. Secondly, it is not leaching out anything which will have some reaction with the drug. And third, very important point is that now, as he said, that what are the guidelines for raw material sourcing? Every time when you are sourcing a raw material, if you put the source in the dossier that I will be purchasing from ABC company and it is manufactured in ABC plant, this is vendor who is validated by me, who is approved by me, and if you are changing that vendor or a material, then you have to have stability studies of the product to be submitted to the regulator and getting his nod again. So, what is needed is that continuous supply from one source, consistent quality from one source, and if there is any change in that source, any change in the process, any change in the system, or any change in the material, then you have to have many studies to be done before implementing that change. So that is one part. Another part is that while once we are talking of packing, probably we are talking of final dose. Here is another story that he discussed something about monoethylene glycol. There are stories here, there are issues here that ethylene glycol is a common solvent used in the pharma, liquid oral sort of thing. Now, ethylene glycol is coming from sources, maybe in India, maybe in China, it is coming in some containers, in tankers, or some other tin containers or something like that. Or no, nobody knows that these containers are virgin or not. These containers are being used for the first time or not. If same manufacturer or same container or same ship or same tanker has earlier transported diethylene glycol and material being similar, now ethylene glycol comes into that, the levels of the contamination because of diethylene glycol are such that which are life-taking, which are threatening to the life. And we had last year some cases in Uzbekistan or some other countries from where cup syrup supplied from India was given to the children there and it caused death there. So, not only a container in which you are providing it, a container in which it was transported, how it was validated, it was clean or not, it was what it had earlier or not. So, these type of things are very important. So, every operation in pharma, every material in pharma has to be controlled in a proper way, acquired from the right source in a right way. Now, very ironically, situation is that there is no control on packaging material in the law. Drug and Cosmetic Act is the regulation. There is no control on packaging material. There is no control on transportation. However, manufacturer is responsible to see that his product maintains its quality till its lifetime. So it becomes responsibility of the manufacturer to validate his packaging material, to validate and design his transportation in such a way that no adulteration will be caused. So sourcing from the source means manufacturer has to be right, his packing has to be right, his transportation has to be right, and it has to come at the right place, and then from here all the things have to take place.
Yeah. Thank you. I mean, in the case of PET, I am aware, same true for all other polyolefin, other material also. We have certain rules, BIS guidelines and all that. But again, as you rightly said, there is no checks in place at times, whether you're using virgin material or what kind of this thing. But definitely there are guidelines by BIS, FSI on what kind of colorants, what kind of materials are to be used, and the manufacturers strictly follow that. I mean,
They will have to.
Okay, so inspired by your such insights, we have the next question again coming to you only, Mr. Sadhwani, is have you seen any changes in the process guidelines of drug and pharma companies in view of both enhanced emphasis on improving the recyclability of packaging materials and also a lot of higher focus on sustainability by the both drug and food companies?
Right, it's definitely there because international laws are going into the same line. Now, for primary packaging material, they may not have choices. But for secondary and tertiary packaging material, they can have these choices. And as I said, that they have to comply with the regulation of the importing country. So importing countries are having this type of regulations already in place. Secondly, second point is that now when we are talking of packaging, very important point is anti-counterfeiting. So most of the countries are having issues related to serialization and track and trace. And then everybody has put in place some regulation related to that. Similarly, India has also done for 300 brands. We have introduced Schedule 2 into the drug and cosmetic rules, and we say that these 300 brands which are fast moving are prone for counterfeiting. Therefore, there should be good trace and track for that, and serialization has to be there. So regulation is dynamic, regulation is fast changing, adaptability has to be there. You have to really keep watch on international regulations, and as far as packaging materials and sustainability is concerned, Western world is fast changing, their guidelines are changing, so we'll have to be alert, and every manufacturer has to be alert, otherwise for packaging itself, your dossier will be rejected, right? So you have to give solutions which will be sustainable.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, in India, because I'm a pet experience I'm sharing with you, people started looking at PET for pharma packaging globally only very recently. You don't find if you go to Germany, US, but in India, more than 3 decades ago, people started shifting from glass to PET, not account of any love for pet, but purely to reduce the cost and to reduce the breakages in the shipment. Fair enough. So, Mr. Weber, again back to you. From pharma to FMCG, what role does lightweighting play in reducing the carbon footprint of packaging? I mean, at Marico, generally we all know. And in view of emphasis of FMG companies on the lightweighting, what are the broader initiatives undertaken by Marico in this regard, and what are the challenges which you see from April 25?
Thank you so much. So we say reduce, reuse, recycle. Reduce is the first, and it's, in a lot of sense it is the easiest way for us to deal with the plastic. Easiest because it gives us benefit in terms of cost. It is anything that you reduce the weight on, it is actually reducing the weight it moves through the supply chain. It reduces the plastic consumption and hence the cost. So what has happened in in FMCG in general, if you see, the biggest case that we see today is water bottles. The 1 liter water bottles of Kinley, Aquafina. Those bottles have become like it's a poly bag. Because it's pressurized with nitrogen, it holds it holds the weight till it reaches to the consumer end. But once you open, that nitrogen is off, then you will have a very flimsy kind of a material which will be there. So this is the extreme end of lightweighting. At Marico, we can't do such lightweighting because none of our products are single-use products. But we would try and still continue to reduce the weights, again, in order to ensure that the plastic consumption remains. So there were few years in between when our plastic consumption did not go up in spite of the growths in sales. That was because we were reducing the weights of the bottles to that extent. 10%, 12% weight reduction used to happen, and hence our plastic consumption was stagnant. So this is a very standard phenomenon. Now, what has happened is, because you are at an optimum level of weight, and then when you get into a recycled materials that are being used, which have slightly different properties than the virgin materials, the IVs could be different, there could be different strengths, then it leads to impact on the bottle stability, the top loads, and some of the other parameters. It becomes a little challenging to manage some of these. So hence it becomes a little difficult to optimize. So if you are at an optimal and you are getting into rPET from April, you might have a double whammy where you have to increase the weights and you have to add rPET, which is at a premium. So it's going to be a little challenging as we go ahead.
Yeah, very well said. In fact, I agree with your experience of liquid nitrogen dosing. Way back, I mean, almost like 10, 15 years back, 1 or 2 edible oil majors, they shifted, they started using liquid nitrogen dosing, but it was not, PET itself was giving the required shelf life, nothing great about it. But they wanted to reduce the weight. The design was not optimized in terms of petrolite base. You can't give it to the edible oil bottle and things like that. So it didn't took off in a very great way unless you modify the bottle design along with liquid nitrogen dosing, so you don't get the desired shelf life. Anyway, so back to you, Mr. Krishnan, we would all like to hear from you on the holistic approach which your company is taking towards sustainable package design, starting from sourcing of different materials, including packaging until supply chain management. This I'm seeing all from your resume, so everything I've included in your question.
Thanks for the question, right? So it looks like I'm going to write my appraisal here. Okay, so I talked about moving from plastic to paper was a decision pushed by the board. That was not a choice for us, so we were forced to maintain the cost or reduce the cost. So that was the challenge on the table. The first one, we spoke about it, I'm not going to spend more time on that, is reduce the air which has been getting shipped, right? So what are the optimizations we could do? Then we went on, we moved ahead saying, why do I need to do a packaging in certain areas where my packaging is fit to go? For example, there are multiple handlings happens in supply chain, right? So what happens is when you are buying a product, it goes inside a truck in a bag. So if 5 bags are stored, there is 100 kg of load applied on the bottommost one, right? So we need some reinforcement material to hold the product together for sure. At the same time, there are some practices we drastically changed. First, what we did is, instead of using one-time use packaging, right, we started using totes. Yeah, tote is maybe 1,000 cycles or 2,000 cycles. Till the time somebody steals it, it's in the system, right? So that's how it works. So wherever we try to ship through the bag, we move to the tote, so that tote, there is no direct weight applied on the product. Okay, so it's all about attention to the details. So I'll give you one very interesting example. Maybe I hope most of you buy from Flipkart or any of the e-commerce, right? You would have seen your address is pasted on a label. There's a white label which comes on the top, right? So that label, maybe at a localized level, if you see that, is maybe 2 grams or 5 grams kind of thing, right? The kind of papers that we are buying just for that label was running into 3-digit or maybe a 4-digit tons in a year. Okay, so what we did is, it's more about not just from an intention of just reducing the cost or a packaging. We looked at it. It's like a real estate. Every square foot of the label is a real estate. Why am printing so many things on the label, right? Why do I require this? Can we put a barcode can replace a text? Maybe a customer cannot read, but my entire system can read. Maybe that's not required for a customer, it's for internal processing. Similarly, for everything we revisited, and we could able to reduce that label size by 60%. Maybe most of the e-commerce companies are following it as we speak here. That has helped me to reduce 60%. When I say 4-digit tonnage that we used to buy in a year, that has come down by 60%, direct. There is no rocket science that we involve, right? It's just getting into attention to detail because nobody was noticing it. It's a small label getting pasted or something. Everybody would have stepped over it, right? I cannot go and present in a board meeting saying that we are doing a transforming job. But when it comes to packaging, that is a kind of attention to detail that we have to bring it on. Third is most of the brands, all of you representing some of the brands, right? Mostly the brands in the past, the legacy is that is designed for a store, which can go into a shelf, or mostly a B2B kind of scenarios, not a B2C. Now, when the e-commerce started picking up, we started talking to the brands. When we do it right, why don't we partner together so that when you pack it right first time so that it can be moved into an e-commerce kind of thing. Especially liquids, oils, 5-liter oils, cooking oils, a lot of things where it spills and destroys everything, right? So the brands, initially they were thinking, but now they have started moving forward with us, right? They wanted to work with us because the kind of solutions, it's not just we are asking them and they are doing it. We are collaborating, we are working together to make that happen. And then fourth is no packaging, right? So the way of no packaging is, the customer is important, right? We cannot compromise on the customer experiences, right? I cannot send a product which can get damaged. So there is a team which works. We applied some science, right? Every product comes in, the team ranks every product to some category saying that, hey, this product can go without a packaging or with packaging. Or what is a minimalistic packaging. That information is passed on to the packer and then the packer takes a decision accordingly, right? And then moving on is what we're also working on is how do I ready for private label kind of packaging. So whatever it gets pre-packed everything from the seller itself. Okay. So every leg, every supply chain element, tote is something that I spoke about it, right? So if all those things, if I put together, it runs in scales. Even because the volume is increasing, no supplier is, because a lot of my suppliers started suggesting previously what was happening was, for example, one of the example I can say here is, we buy from big brands. They come with a packaging, right? And that we have to throw it as a scrap, and some scrap vendors used to pick it up and go. Now we started circular economy on that. Circular economy, everybody says is going for a recycle and buying, is not that I'm talking here. I went to all my suppliers. I told them, right, hey, why don't you buy the scrap from me and convert it and give it back me as a fresh product? And they were not clueless, and we work together. Right now, as I speak, 85% of my scrap goes to the circular economy. And they take it back, whether it's a paper bag or whatever it is, it all goes back and comes back to me. And it's an advantage for them because they send a truck to me. When we're talking about sustainability, you have to think about all elements, right? When the supplier sends a truck to me to unload a fresh material, the truck goes back empty. On that, they carry the scrap. Even in that, we went to such an extent, we used to load the loose scrap on them, right? The loose scrap, we just put a baling machine of 2 lakhs or 3 lakhs. Nobody was thought about it. Just a baling machine increases the tap capacity by 40%. Okay, so the truck never goes back empty. I'm saving carbon fuel as well. So if there are multiple success stories, right? I hope all of you in this room would have minimum 10, 15 success stories in this area, right? So it's all about coming together with a common objective and making things happen. Yeah.
Thank you so much for your insights. Mr. Garg, yeah. What suggestion would you like to share with this esteemed audience in regard to SOPs to be followed for proper SCM of the finished product till it reaches the final customer? And that is not all. And what are the challenges in view of the new term which you see, carbon footprint of packaging and transportation?
I think very good question regarding this, because I am from this field. Yes. Yes. The question is, means SOP for the finished good must be reached to our consumers, correct? So I am now from the food industry. So this is I know that any product must be reached to the customer. Yeah. The question is what is the challenges, correct? Yeah. And what is the SOP? Actually, SOP is very important for any organization or any structure. So the team can follow that SOP. But in this, if we are discussing about the sustainability packaging, then it is little difficult to follow the SOP. However, as per whatever I feel and I observe it, SOP we can define with the 7 rights. Means we should know about the right product, means what consumer required, right place, right person, right quality. So these are the important things which need to be followed by any of the supply chain team or any organization. And yes.
Thanks.
Okay.
Okay.
And regarding the carbon foot, I think you asked that is very important for any industries. And we know the carbon footprint, it's very now very important. And for this I can say EB now we can use, I think so. However, it is difficult for the India. But just I was thinking last night, why not we can use EB trucks between 2 cities? It may be from Bombay to Delhi. Yeah, if we want to deliver our product to Assam or somewhere, so then we can use the normal vehicle and other things. But if between 2 cities, wherever this EV is available, then we can use, and it can be reduce the
absolutely great
carbon.
idea.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And also part load and other things we can, transport should not become empty.
Yeah.
That also we can plan.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thanks. Yeah.
Mr. Vaibhav, back to you. Very quickly, we are left with 8 minutes. What initiatives or incentives, if I have to use the term, can encourage the use of PCR materials in the mainstream packaging? And finally, that's it.
So for increasing the PCR in packaging, while the government is going ahead with the with the targets and with the whatever is the percentage being set, before that there has to be an encouragement to collect, segregate, and make available the right quantity and right quality of raw materials for the industry. Now it's a market economy. It will evolve as we speak. There are multiple things which are being tried, but yes, there has to be certain incentives also to be given, as you said on the GST. If there could be some things that can be given, things can actually start moving very, very fast.
Thank you so much. Very quickly, Mr. Sadhwani, we would like to hear from you, and this is the last question to you, on the SOPs for proper sourcing of the raw materials. The big question, but for time constraint, we are cutting it.
See, there is good manufacturing practices, Schedule M in drug and cosmetic rules. which says that you should have good manufacturing practices. There is vendor validation, vendor so, uh, vendor audits, and vendor approval is very important thing. And the regulation is very clear, saying that you have to have some standard guidelines for selection of vendor, for approval of vendor, and getting his materials, using it in your product and validating your product systems and everything, and then using it. So that one line is very clearly saying that you have to source everything from the validated systems, validated way. Second point is that you have to comply with the international regulations, as I said earlier, and there are some international guidelines, particularly in the form of pharmacopoeia, standards to be followed. So packaging material standards for primary packaging material has been provided in the pharmacopoeias. You'll have to comply with that. So regulation is there, product-wise regulation is there, then good manufacturing practices are there. Major thing, whatever has come up, is the responsibility of the manufacturer to validate it and take the responsibility. So, person who is marketing authorization holder, he is responsible for everything. So, he has to has due diligence in selection of everything, man, material, method, machine, everything. He has to be very diligent, sort of thing.
Yeah. So rapid fire to the last two panelists. We have, time constraints. Mr. Krishnan, very quickly, how can brands ensure compliance with global certifications and standards for sustainable materials? 1 minute only.
See, it's okay. My 30-second answer would be, it's not externally forced, right? People should be responsible enough to go and choose these kind of compliances. They have to feel how it's going to make the organization in a positive direction. So that's the two lines I want to say. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And Mr. Garg, we are concluding with you. Rapid fire. What role, and very specific to this question, what role will digital tools and traceability technologies play in sustainable sourcing and package design? The
Actually,
topic
I
of the
think
day.
from morning we are discussing about the AI and these tools, which really play very big role in the sustainable packaging. So I can take one example for the, actually last year, I think 2023, there were one FIFA World Cup in Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and we got one means order. So that time means they need the sustainable packaging or something different. So we utilized that opportunity and we did that, reducing the some space and design and ink.
Yeah.
That we done. So it is very important to utilize this AI tools and blockchain, because blockchain is also very important, and IoT that need for the we can because I discussed about the traceability and quality for this. Yeah. So blockchain and the IoT can be useful for these tools.
Thank
so
you.
TI. Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
Thanks.
Thank you so much. We are running out of time. And ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Garg has also a passion for writing like me, so I invite him to, if you want to say anything about that, before we open the forum to questions by audience.
Thanks. Actually, I am not writer or author. I like to write diary. I think you, everyone also watching, whatever point is coming, I am writing here. So, मैंने diaries लिखी है सन, I think when I was 7-8 years old, उस समय से मैं diary लिखना शुरू किया, and उसी को मैंने एक बुक का नाम दे दिया जिसका नाम है माई डेस्टिनेशन. आई हैव द सैम्पल कॉपी, और जो भी मेरे एक्चुअली एज पर मी एवरी वन इज द राइटर, एवरी वन कैन राइट एंड एवरी वन बिकम ए ऑथर. आई थिंक सो, बिकॉज आई एम नॉट ऑथर. इफ आई कैन राइट, एवरी वन कैन राइट. I have the book, so if you, would like to, I can present to you. On behalf because I have only the one copy.
On behalf of all the panelists.
Yeah, so, please. Yes, this is my destination, and other is the, in Hindi, reservation in heaven. Actually, everybody I think know about the issues of the reservations. I think so. So I written about that topic and demanding that reservation must be in the heaven also. That I mentioned in the drama. So that is, yeah. So please.
my player. I have only one line to say on ये destination तो हर एक की अलग-अलग होती है.
Everybody's
हाँ.
destination is a single one.
Okay. Yeah. Moksha. Okay. As far as reservation is concerned, उसमें मैं एक ही line कहना चाहूँगा. Reservation in heaven. The title is quite interesting. I'm sure you all must be hearing for the first time. तो जाने के बाद तो सभी खुदा बन जाते हैं. खुदाई उसी में है जब जीते जी आप खुदा बनिए. Okay, friends, the forum is now, with the permission of the chair, we have another, 1 minute by watch, another 2 minutes. So, forum is open to questions and answers also, not only questions. Please. Ready? You have explained it so well, huh? I never knew it. Okay, any questions from the front benchers till the last row? Okay, then I will have one question to keep the dignity of the chair. Is one which I left it the time factor, half minute by each one of you, rapid fire on concluding thoughts on the topics of the day. Half minute by watch, each one of you. And bear with us for another 2 minutes.
Yeah, I'll take that opportunity. I don't know whether I'm audible, but
Can I
yes.
take this?
Yeah. So I'll take the opportunity to talk about the last few thoughts. See, it's all simple. It is there to stay. The recyclability is here. We have to get into PCR and the raw material quality is going to improve. The point is, will it happen quickly with the government regulations coming in, or it will take time, and then how do we cope up in the meantime? So that's going to be that watch out for 2025. And with that, I pass on the mic to the next person.
Yeah, thanks. I am also agree with Mr. Behab. Yeah, it is very important. Sustainability is now required for India also, and it is now globally started. And thanks. Yeah, I'm.
So only one concluding word I want to say, right? What we are doing for a sustainability is not for profits, is not for revenues, right? It's for the future. If we want our kids to own this land in a safe and clean environment, this is somewhere it has to start. This is a place for starting, right? So we are a responsible citizen from that perspective. Yeah.
My message is very different. As I have said that we are pharmacy of the world, we are exporting drugs to 200 countries. Now, while we are exporting drugs, we are exporting packaging also, right? And I will say that India should become packaging material supplier of the world. You supply packaging, developed packaging to the world in such a way that every pack which is made in US or Europe or anywhere in the world, the packaging material is supplied from India and it is sustainable. Let us make that hope.
Yeah, thank you so much. And it is not wishful thinking, it is already happening for many packagings. People from Europe and all that, they have the facilities there, and from there they export. You are well aware. Friends, as we took the pledge today in the morning, the recycling and blah, blah, blah. So it all starts with us. Just to give you a very small example, if we separate the dry waste and wet waste in two different things at our homes, believe me, 90% of the problems faced by the further people down the route can get covered. शोले में एक सिक्के के दोनों तरफ एक ही चीज था. But here, if you're doing it correctly, even or not, we can play a good role in recycling and sustainability. Thank you so much. Over to you.